Hello guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Championship predictions for midweek. The games are flying at us. I think Sophie just got the better of me last week. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I mean, we got the 3 points as well. That's the most important thing. But yeah, beating you. We'll see if I can do it again.
We'll see. Guys, as ever, do drop a like. Please do make sure to subscribe as well. We're on the march to 21,000 subscribers, so get involved. If you're a Championship fan, get your predictions in for these games as well. Let's start at the game you're going to at Ashton Gate, Bristol City v Coventry. I'll be live streaming this one on the Tuesday. Gotta say, things are looking a bit better for Coventry with just one win, but you put it with the couple of draws together, 3 games unbeaten, back-to-back clean sheets, and that's the only way I could see us beating Bristol City, because Bristol City aren't a bad team. Yes, they did lose at the weekend, but I have a little bit of trust in Coventry coming into this with back-to-back clean sheets, and I feel like we could win 1-0.
Okay, I did not think you'd back us to win. Yeah, do you know what? I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good day and hopefully a good game. And yeah, I think this is a good time for us to be playing Bristol City, to be honest, because they've just kind of hit a little bit of a sticky patch at the moment. So I'm hoping we can get something from this game. Going to have a little bit of pride in the badge and say that we're going to get a 1-1 draw, which I would take. It's not being like massively positive, but yeah, getting the 3 points now is something to build on. We get the draw away from home, I think that's another good result.
It'd still be 4 unbeaten, I suppose.
Exactly.
Next up is a massive game as Luton Town take on Huddersfield Town. This was a playoff semi-final last year. Luton looking like another team that could battle for the playoffs again. As for Huddersfield, I think Coventry will overtake them soon if they keep going the way they are. They lost 3-1 at Reading. Didn't expect them to get much there in the first place, but still not looking great. Lee Nichols made a mistake or two, and I backed Luton to beat Hull. They did, and I'm going to back Luton to win here. I'll say another 3-1 against Huddersfield. Okay,
I thought, yeah, Luton looked really good against Hull, to be honest.
What a goal from Lansbury, by the way.
Oh, honestly, what a strike. And I think they're going to get the 3 points again. I think it's going to be another 2-0 for me, just because Huddersfield are looking pretty poor.
Okay, next up to Bramall Lane as Sheffield United take on Queen's Park Rangers. I think before the weekend's games I'd have backed Sheffield United for this one, but they did only manage a draw against Birmingham, and Queen's Park Rangers got the win at Ashton Gate, so it's shifted this one a little bit for me. I still think Sheffield United are red-hot favourites. I still fancy them to get up this season, but maybe signs of imperfection at this point. I still think they're very good, but Queen's Park Rangers aren't a bad side, so I might say they get out of here with a 1-1.
Yeah, no, I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think not the best result for them for the Blades at the weekend against Birmingham. They should have really tried to get the 3 points there. So I think they're going to follow it up with another 1-1.
1-1. Okay, next up to the Stadium of Light as Sunderland take on Blackpool. Sunderland got sucked into Preston's 0-0 draw antics. As for Blackpool, as for Blackpool, they lost 1-0 to Norwich, which isn't a disgraceful scoreline. And having looked at the stats and stuff, Blackpool could have got something out of that. So it's an encouraging performance, if not the result. I still think, though, going away to the Stadium of Light, I don't fancy Blackpool to get anything. I think Sunderland, now they're going to play a team which aren't as solid as the back as Preston. I fancy Sunderland to get a 2-0 win.
Yeah, I think Sunderland needs to be looking at this as not like a must-win, because it's not a must-win, but I think they are going to get the win. Blackpool, they're not in very good form at the moment. As you say, 1-0 against Norwich isn't a disgrace, but I don't think they're going to get anything at the Stadium of Light, so 3-1 Sunderland.
3-1 Sunderland. Next up, big game as Cardiff City take on Blackburn Rovers. You were correct in backing Blackburn to win 2-1. And as you say, they go win-loss, win-loss. I wonder if he'll go loss this time. I think they might get a draw this time. I know they've not been drawing much, but they're up against Cardiff, who aren't good, but aren't bad at the same time, if that makes sense. They managed to get a 1-1 against Burnley, and I feel like they might get a draw here. I'm struggling to pick this. If Blackburn were at home, I might edge them. But Cardiff might get a couple of goals. I'll say a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Now, do you know what? I'm actually going to back Cardiff to win. And it's not just because of the Blackburn win-loss, win-loss. That has kind of influenced me slightly. But to get something against a strong Burnley team, I think is quite impressive. So to be at home, I think they could slightly edge Blackburn. 1-0 Cardiff.
Next up is a massive game as Reading take on Norwich City. Both sides flying. Norwich, you'd expect it. Reading, you wouldn't. So fair play to Reading for being up there and competing with the likes of Norwich. The fact they're at home as well, could they get something here? Norwich only scraped a 1-0 against Blackpool, But I just fancy them to scrape another 1-0. I'm going to go 1-0 Norwich. I think they're just very good at getting the results over the line in the Championship. I think Reading look good, and I'm not trying to take too much away from them, but I just think with it being Norwich, I'm going to go for the Canaries.
Yeah, no, I do agree with what you're saying, but I do think it's going to be quite a tough game. I think Reading are going to take it to them, and being at home as well, I see why you're saying like they could get something from this, but Norwich do just look too strong, so I think they're going to win 2-1.
2-1. Okay, we'll move on to Turf Moor as Burnley host Stoke City. Burnley once again looking good, but just not getting the win. They're drawing quite a few games. I think they need to win this one against the Stoke side. They got hammered by Watford 4-0 today.
Didn't see that coming?
No, I did not see that coming. I backed Stoke to beat Watford, so
said 0-0.
Just because they've annoyed me by getting my prediction wrong, I might have to back Burnley. I would go heavy, but I don't think Stoke can get hammered again. I'll go Burnley 2-0.
Yeah, I think Burnley needs to get the win here. I was not expecting Stoke to lose so heavily, especially being at home as well. That is quite a poor result, and I think they're going to lose again, but only by 1 goal, so 1-0 Burnley. 1-0
Burnley. Next up, Hull City take on Wigan Athletic. I've got to say, Hull City, I said just before that Luton game, alarm bells going off. It's not great. They sacked the manager and then they lost 2-0 to Luton. I just don't think they look very good defensively. They're very, very poor, and going forwards, they're not offering a lot. Wigan Athletic, got to say, great win at Rotherham, and I fancy them to win away here. 2-1 Wigan.
Yeah, Hull are in very, very poor form at the moment, and I think it might actually continue against Wigan at home. Wigan are surprising me this season, and they're pulling out some good performances, some great results, and I think they're going to follow it up with another 1-0.
Next up to the Riverside then, as Middlesbrough take on Birmingham City. The pressure must be immense on Chris Wilder. I don't think they were absolutely awful against Coventry, but they were in the first half. Second half, they rallied. It's just about getting that ball in the back of the net. I don't know why they didn't start Ryan Giles. Isaiah Jones should be in the team as well. And meanwhile, you've got Birmingham, who are now a few games unbeaten, and they picked up a good 1-1 at Bramall Lane. Yeah. I'm going to go for Chris Wilder to get the sack. 1-0 Birmingham.
Yeah, I was not very impressed with Middlesbrough. I can kind of see why they are where they are. I'm going to back the Blues. 2-0.
2-0 Birmingham. Quite convincing as well. Next up to the New York Stadium as Rotherham take on Millwall. Both sides lost at the weekend. Rotherham, they've lost the manager and they lost a home game, which is not great against the newly promoted side in Wigan as well. They need to steady the ship. It would be a bit of a disaster if they lose back-to-back home games. Meanwhile, Millwall lost 2-1 to Blackburn. They could have got something late on. They did push. And I fancy Millwall here. Just a bit more streetwise in the Championship. I think Millwall will grind out the result here. I'm going to say 1-0 to the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same. I think it is going to be quite a tight game, but I think just Millwall have that experience to just get it over the line and get the 3 points there. So 1-0 Millwall.
And next up to Vicarage Road as Watford take on Swansea. This is now a tricky one to predict because I want to go for Swansea based on the facts in the last 2 games they've won. They beat Hull 3-0, they beat West Brom 3-2, very impressive. What was it, West Brom missed a penalty with 9 minutes to go. It's very impressive. Meanwhile, Watford's just beat Stoke 4-0 away. So this is now a really tricky one to predict. Going to have to sit on the fence at some point, and I'm going to go for it here. Watford 2, Swansea 2.
Oh no, see, I didn't actually realise it was Slaven Bilic that came in at Watford. I quite like him as a manager, and I think he's going to do a good job for however many games he's going to get there. So I think they're going to back it up with another win. I'm not taking anything away from Swansea because I think they've had a couple good performances, but this is a very strong Watford side. So 3-2 Watford.
Okay, last up we go to Deepdale as Preston take on West Bromwich Albion. Preston, the masters of 0-0 draws, and they got one at Sunderland, which isn't a bad result. They haven't lost many, they just haven't won many. They're drawing a lot, and that's why they're mid-table. It's not a disaster, it's just not great at the same time. I don't know what Preston fans are thinking at this point.
Well, it can't be entertaining.
It's not entertaining, that's the thing. Now they're at home, I think they need to... 0-0's are good maybe away from home, but they want to put a show on at home and, you know, get the fans cheering about something. And I feel like they could do against West Brom, who I just think Steve Bruce is a bit like Chris Wilder, under massive pressure, and disaster to lose to Swansea. It's not looking good at all. West Brom keep drawing a lot as well though, so I think inevitably it'll be a draw, and predictably 0-0.
Okay, right, I'm going to say the exact same, annoyingly. The only reason I'm saying that is, for me, West Brom are massively underperforming. I think Preston... it's a bit boring, let's be honest. Their fans have got to be getting bored at this point because they've seen so many draws play out, and 0-0 as well. It's not entertaining. When we played them, I mean, they beat us, but it was just boring for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be another 0-0.
There you go. What a surprise. That wraps up the Championship predictions for midweek, guys. As I say, drop a like. Let's go for 150 likes. Get involved. Make sure you subscribe as well. And I'll be streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week. So get involved in all of that. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.